Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today for this short webinar. My name is Dr. Barbara Borland. I am a board-certified diagnostic radiologist, and I live in Clearwater, Florida. The information that I have to share for you today is really quite important. I hope that you'll find it interesting. My story started about 5 years ago. Now, at that point, I was not looking for any kind of business opportunity, anything like that. I was looking forward to retiring, and we had worked very hard, my husband and I, to get to that point. But we had a problem, and it was one that really needed a solution. It was his health. Now, he didn't have a life-threatening problem, but it was very aggravating, and we knew that if we didn't find the answer, that our plans for retirement were not going to happen. A friend of ours introduced us to a new product at the time called Protandim. So we said, sure, we'll try it. We tried everything. But this was different because after a little while of taking this, we started to notice some subtle but consistent improvements. I said, what's going on? Why did taking this one little yellow pill start making a difference when all the other things had failed? That's when I decided to become the scientist again. So I really opened up the science, looked at all of the peer-reviewed studies, and this is what I want to give to you, a little summary of what I found. First of all, I found out that my husband's situation was not any, it wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't any kind of lucky break. No, the science explained why he was improving. His body was getting exactly what it needed, the chance to heal itself. The second thing I found out is that there was something that they didn't teach me in medical school back at Duke University in the 1980s. It's because they didn't know at the time. We now know the root cause for the majority of disease. It is something called cellular oxidation, also known as oxidative stress. We'll learn a little bit more about that during this short webinar, but for now, think about a bicycle, brand new, left out in the rain, season after season. What happens? Oxidation. It's called rust, but technically it's called oxidation. There is a form of oxidation in our cells that takes place when the cells are left exposed to toxins that cause damage to the cells, just like the bicycle left out in the rain. The source of these toxins, you might think that it's likely that they come from the outside into our body. Those are important, but they're not the most critical in this situation. No, the toxins I'm talking about are generated within our body. These are the byproducts of metabolism, extracting energy from food and using that energy to do the work of the cell. I also found out that our body has a natural system present in every cell, regulated by our DNA, that manages this oxidation process. It is called the Nrf2 pathway. I found out that Nrf2 is directly activated by Protandim. Now, the last thing I found out of importance is that this natural system becomes less active as we age, or maybe we're under undue stress. That's when we get sick. Now, I'm a cell biologist based on my undergraduate training, so I know that all disease starts on a cellular level with something wrong with the cell. So I knew this product was going to be an important breakthrough. The scientific studies, I read every one of them. New ones come out every year, 22 so far, done at universities across the country, peer-reviewed, university-based studies. But all of those, out of all of those, there is something that I think actually is far more compelling. And that is a video that was produced back in 2005. It's not a company video. It's an independent video. In fact, produced by a very prestigious organization, ABC Primetime Investigative Reports. If you haven't seen it, please make sure you see it as soon as possible. I loved watching this because the reporter gave his blood before and after Protandim. It was John Quinones. You might recognize him from other things that he does. But his blood before and after 2 weeks of Protandim showed a reduction in the signs of cellular stress, 45%. That report confirmed the results of the first major university study that was done on Protandim. And that study showed that Protandim taken for 30 days reduces the blood markers of cellular stress an average of 40%. The next study showed that Protandim increases glutathione, which is considered the most vital antioxidant enzyme in our body and absolutely necessary for survival. It increases it by 300%. Well, I realize as great as my husband's story is, this isn't really about me telling you my story or really even my opinion of the science. What's really important is your story, your life story. So let's talk about that for just a moment. It's very likely that you're going to live until you are in your mid-80s, probably even into your mid-90s. You may or may not agree with that, but these are the facts. The Social Security Administration, which knows a lot about the aging population, reported this from their data. A 65-year-old man living today, on the average, is going to live until he's 84. A 65-year-old woman, on the average, is going to live till she's 87. And 1 out of 4 65-year-olds will live till they're 90, and 1 in 10 will live until they're 95. So as a population, we are all living longer. There's a lot of reasons for that. Major advances in surgery. For one, we have great control over the majority of infectious diseases. And, well, the American medical system has gotten really good at keeping us alive, no matter what disease we develop. But the question is this, is how confident are you that the quality of your life over this extended period is going to be a quality that fulfills you, really brings you to the highest level of performance that you want at that age? How confident are you that the American medical system and the pharmaceutical industry is going to be able to prevent disease, is going to be able to prevent you from feeling the effects of disease or effects of their drugs? How confident that you're going to be vibrant and mentally alert? These are important questions, which leads to the next question. What's the best game plan for getting healthy and keeping healthy? Do you want to wait until you are sick to get started? Or does it make sense to take proactive steps in managing your lifestyle so that you can have downstream benefit throughout your years? My passion is to help people embrace the realities of long-term health and also to educate them about simple strategies that they can take now to make dramatic improvements in their life. No matter when you start, whether you're 20 or whether you're 80, taking some simple steps to improve your health will have a dramatic effect. My opinion is that this most important of these simple strategies is taking Protandim. Let me help you understand why I hold this opinion. As I said before, all disease originates on a cellular level. Some people are born with problems, but most of us develop these problems over time, the result of repeated damage to the very backbone of our cells. The most common reason for cellular breakdown is oxidative stress, and that's caused by, as we've said, free radicals. Left unchecked, multiple parts of our cells, as well as our DNA, will become damaged, oxidized, just like a bicycle rusting in the rain. Our cells do 3 things. 1, they extract energy from food. Number 2, they use that energy to do the function of the cell. And number 3, they clean up the mess that's caused by the first 2 steps. The mess, that's all the byproducts of all the biochemical reactions that take place in our cells to derive energy and use energy from our food. The cleanup crew that cleans up the mess, that's the Nrf2 pathway, the Nrf2 system that I talked about before. You see, Nrf2 works like a thermostat. It monitors the level of free radicals in your cells. And just like a thermostat in your home will activate the heater or the air conditioner based on what the temperature variation is, Nrf2 is going to regulate your DNA. Activating your DNA to do exactly what is needed to neutralize free radicals, and it does it in a very precise way. Not only when to act, but exactly how to act and how long to act, and how great a reaction there is. It's all perfectly modulated by the Nrf2 system, the thing that Protandim directly activates. Now, you may be wondering, well, if this Nrf2 system is a natural process, why do I need to go through a daily activation with Protandim? And that's a very reasonable question. It goes back to that issue I mentioned at the very beginning, the fact that our natural defense system declines over the decades of our life. Every year that we live, our cellular protection weakens. So starting in our 20s, after we finish reaching our full physical maturation, our cellular protection begins to decline. That's a natural state. But you might be thinking, well, I feel really good now. I'm not sure I need this. Well, let's talk through that for just a second. If you have gone through your 40s, or if you will be doing that in the near future, you may have noticed a little change in energy levels, a little change in your stamina, or you may have noticed that your athletic ability has declined. This is all the result of 10 to 15 years of cellular decline. Another example, my friend Lisa, who developed her first breast cancer in her 40s and her second and third breast cancers in her 50s. Well, that cancer was a result of damage to her DNA, but it didn't happen at the time of her diagnosis. It was years in the making before it could be detected by a mammogram or an ultrasound. I have a friend who is 68, just 10 days ago, had a massive cerebral stroke. Her arteries had been undergoing damage for decades, and it took decades to get them to the point where a clot was created in just the wrong place to cause the stroke. And then there's my father-in-law, healthy guy, no problems, dead at the age of 75 from a sudden heart attack. That heart attack was in years and years in the making. So keeping your Nrf2 pathway activated even when you feel really good is incredibly important. Now, just because you have your Nrf2 activated does not guarantee that you're never going to get a disease. And taking Protandim does not guarantee protection from or cure of or even slowing down any disease or condition. But, you know, I looked at the science behind this, and I looked at the potential for my long life, and I said, I don't want to wait until I'm too old to realize I should have started taking this. So Protandim is not the only simple strategy you should take to keep yourself healthy. There's a lot of good things to do. Eating a clean diet, getting regular exercise, and definitely addressing the issues of toxins in the environment. All of these are very important. But you can do all of these things, but if your cells are not capable of neutralizing free radicals and dealing with the minor damage that takes place, then all of these actions are going to have minimal benefit for you. Think about it like this. You can have the best gasoline in the car. I mean, best gasoline ever. But if your car's engine is rusted out, it's not going to really do much good, is it? So if you want to maintain your engine, your body, then taking Protandim is perfect. It's safe, it's simple, it's highly effective, it's scientifically proven, and it's very cost effective. As with all things in life, it does involve a decision. You need to decide if you're going to incorporate Protandim into your healthy lifestyle. You could wait, of course, sure. There's a lot of things you could wait for. You could wait to see if Big Pharma comes out with its own Nrf2 activator. It will. It's already working on it. And it will be a chemical, and it will have side effects, and it will be expensive. You could wait to see if another product comes out that may be better. You can wait for some more scientific validation. Or, oh, don't do this. You could wait until you get sick. Don't do that. In any case, or you could be like us, the folks that have been enjoying Protandim now for years and years and have made the decision to incorporate this as a lifetime choice. But going back to you, this is your decision. My job has been to give you the information that you need to decide. So give us some thought. Get back with the person who invited you to watch this and get your questions answered, and then let them know when you're ready to get started. Thank you so much for your time.